in particular scenes. Very effective.
Wow.
Impressive.
Yeah.
All right, 7:03, we'll go ahead and get started. Let me clear my screen. All right, good evening, and thank you everyone for attending tonight's Mira Mesa Town Council meeting. We're going to start with something a little unusual tonight. For those who knew him and those who may not have heard, Bruce Brown passed away this week. He was an incredibly talented man, two-time volunteer of the year for the Mira Mesa Town Council, planning group chair, town council president, worked on the board of Harmonium when they were in the process of creating the original teen center. A list so long that if I read it, I'd take up about a third of this meeting. And on top of everything else, an incredibly genuine, nice human being. So I'm going to ask for just a moment of silence in memory of Bruce. And I'd like us to all kind of take his mission to heart and see, now that we are coming out of COVID, what we can't do to help make Mira Mesa a better place. Thank you. We'll begin with recognition of the first responders. Do we have anyone present from SDPD? Okay, San Diego Fire Department. All right, we'll move on. Members' approval of the minutes from the last meeting, those have been online, and what we'll do is, if you have any edits or questions, go ahead and let us know. Otherwise, if I hear none, we're just going to go ahead and accept the minutes as posted. Okay, hearing none, we'll accept the minutes as posted at the website. President's report. I want to thank everyone who sent in comments and called in when the County of San Diego was voting to include funds in their next fiscal year's budget to hopefully renovate the vacant Epicenter building to become a combination teen center and civic center. It would be, if this process goes forward, it would be a county operated building, but they are eager to assist with some of our community projects and programs, things like town council meetings, planning group meetings. We've talked about a lot of other things that go on in the community that might get a home there. There is still a ways to go with this project. The budget, including that allocation, has to go through final approval. I don't know if we need to make any calls or emails on that. If I find out that we do, I will let you know. They're working closely with the city of San Diego to make this happen. And we appreciate the city working to make sure that this building once again becomes an asset serving the residents here in Mira Mesa. Moving on, we're going to go now to one of the highlights of the evening, the awarding of the Mira Mesa Town Council Verne Goodwin Scholarships for 2021. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Eric Kolbach, who has for the last several years served as the chair of our scholarship committee. Eric, take it away.
Screen shares, Eric.
Oh,
You're
Eric,
muted, Eric.
unmute.
you're muted.
Did you unmute
There you
me?
go.
Now you are.
All right. Yes, thank you, Barry. As Barry said, I'm the chair of the Mira Mesa Town Council Scholarship Committee. And I'd also like to recognize and thank the 4 other committee members that joined me this year. There were Jeff Stevens, Daniel Austin, Kanchan Kia, and Jonathan Lee. So the 5 of us got together and reviewed the scholarships. First, I wanted to just remind everyone about the, am I able to share my screen, Jeff? Let's-
Just a second, I'll make you eligible. Yeah, now you can.
So just a brief overview. What's sharing now is the advertisement that went out. The Mira Mesa Town Council Verne Goodwin Scholarship focuses on volunteering. It's open to graduating high school seniors that live in the community of Mira Mesa. The primary requirement is to enter an essay, a narrative about their personal volunteer experience. The scholarship is funded by yearly donations. I'd like to thank all the donors. And if you would like to donate, please head over to miramesatowncouncil.org, and on the scholarship page, Jeff has added a nice donation link here. $5, $5,000, anything would be appreciated. This keeps the scholarship going forward, so we can keep recognizing our volunteering youth by helping them with some college money. So despite the restrictions with COVID this year, we still had many great applications. It was great to read about everyone's, all the youth volunteering and even the various types of volunteering that the youth have been doing. So with that said, our three winners is Marianne Aquino, Charlene Lorenzo, and Valerie Tran. And I'm going to give each one of them an opportunity to introduce themselves and say a few words. In no particular order, Marianne Aquino, she loves literature, art, working with young students. She's been involved with Read Across America and the Pen Pal Club. Marianne, are you on?
First off, I would like to give my thanks to the Mira Mesa Town Council for giving me this opportunity. I'm truly grateful and I will never take it for granted. Anyways, my name is Marianne Aquino and I will be graduating from Mira Mesa High School this Saturday. So although it is quite bittersweet that I'll be leaving this place that I call home for the past 4 years, all the memories I made and the moments I shared, I will always keep that in my heart for all the years. And while attending Mira Mesa High School, I am so happy that I was able to participate in clubs that allowed me to foster my love for volunteering. So volunteering in numerous events in San Diego allowed me to feel all bubbly inside, and the ability to hear other people's stories and knowing that I can make a difference in the community truly makes me happy. And needless to say, volunteering has been an integral part in my high school experience and my journey, and I will keep doing that in all my future endeavors. And I'm happy to say that I will be pursuing higher education at UCSD this fall.
Great.
Thank you. Marianne, and Charlene Lorenzo is president of the Food and Nutrition Club at the Mira Mesa High School. There she's initiated and coordinated many service projects. Charlene?
Hello, I'd like to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity as well. My name is Charlene May Lorenzo and I'm graduating from Mira Mesa High School. I will first be attending Miramar College and then transferring to either San Marcos or SDSU for nursing. And I also hope to continue my education a few years after high school, so I can go to med school to become a doctor. And then a few words I'd like to say would be, I started off volunteering for fun with my friends because they wanted to volunteer with me, and I really enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed doing small things for my friends and family and seeing them smile. And then I realized through volunteering that I can make many others smile in our community. And it also allowed me to break out of my comfort zone since I was a very quiet kid back then. And it showed me that I can make an impact by starting my own volunteering projects. And I couldn't have done that without being more involved in our community. Without volunteering, I would have still been afraid of starting projects and working with groups and other people. I truly am so glad that I decided to spend a lot of my high school career volunteering, and I hope that other generations will continue to volunteer for our community and realize how much they can grow from it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlene. And Valerie Tran also works with youth. She's put in many volunteer hours with Suzhou, teaching Mandarin and teaching English, coaching tennis, as well as working with the Ronald McDonald House. Valerie?
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Valerie Tran, and I first obviously want to thank the Mira Mesa Town Council for giving us the opportunity to apply for and receive this scholarship. It's truly an honor. I'm currently a senior at Mira Mesa High School, and I will be attending UCLA next year in the fall with a civil engineering major. I hope to be able to, in the future, help the environment by improving on or creating structures such as renewable energy ones like solar panels. So although I'll be living in Mira Mesa for the next couple of years, Mira Mesa has been my home for the past 18 years and I will miss it truly. I'll definitely come back and visit. I've done a lot of volunteering around the San Diego area before and throughout high school. This includes aiding at Sunday Chinese School, as mentioned, volunteering at Bank, Ronald McDonald House, Earth Fair, and more. So I first started off just joining some youth groups, maybe at the local temple or just at school. And then I ended up joining a non-governmental organization called 学校, and that's a organization that actually promotes volunteering and environmental health. So it's actually been a huge part of my high school career that I hope to continue in college, because volunteering helps me, well, it gives me the opportunity to help others, get new experiences, and do this all with other amazing people. And this is something that I want to leave behind. And it's something that shaped me and made me a better person. And at the same time, it's taught me so much. So once again, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you all for Marianne, Charlene, and Valerie for serving their community. I'll be meeting up with the three of them offline to give them their certificate as well as the all-important $1,000 check for their continuing education. And in addition to their certificates and checks, I believe our District 6 Councilman Chris Cate has also something to provide them. Mr. Cate, are you online?
I am. Thank you, Eric. And thank you for just allowing me to say a few brief words. First off, I want to thank the town council for always finding amazing people who are very deserving of the scholarship award, and for really instilling at a very young age the spirit of volunteerism within the Mira Mesa community. And it's good to know that we're sending off some amazing people into the world to do amazing things, and we're calling them Mira Mesa residents. And so definitely appreciate that. And to Marianne, Charlene, and Valerie, we wish you nothing but success. Hopefully whatever your future endeavors and where you're going post college and post education find you back here in San Diego, if not Mira Mesa alone. And we'd love to continue having you do good work here locally and providing for us. So we will make sure you get these proclamations as well too, just as a token of our appreciation at the city of San Diego for all that you have done for Mira Mesa and what you will continue to do in your future endeavors. So thank you so much again for just allowing me to be part of this and to celebrate all of you and appreciate and give appreciation for all that you've done in your volunteer work within the region.
Thank you. And again, if you would like to keep rewarding these outstanding graduating seniors, please remember what I said earlier about hopping on to our miramesatowncouncil.org and consider donating.
Eric, thank you for once again chairing this committee. Marianne, Charlene, and Valerie, congratulations and thank you for all that you've done in the community. Councilmember Cate knows very well about those who receive our scholarships. I believe up until just last month, one of our past winners served in Councilmember Cate's office. All right. And on that note, we're going to turn it back over to Councilmember Cate. He's going to give us a bit of an update this evening on what's going on at City Hall.
Thank you, Barry. And again, thank you everyone for the time this evening to provide just a brief update of everything that's happening right now at City Hall and kind of some of the things that we're expecting in the future. I was going to go a little bit out of order just because Barry brought it up in regards to the epicenter, and want to first thank Supervisor Lawson Reamer's office, and I see that Evelyn's on the call. They have been fantastic in looking out for our community. And one thing I noted at a past event that the supervisor was on, a call that she was on, is right away coming into office and asking how to help the Mira Mesa community and what they can do as an office. And so them putting their foot forward to find the funds for the epicenter and the improvements that are needed there are truly amazing and very much appreciative. We are continuing to work with the city and our Park and Recreation Department, our Real Estate Access Departments to figure out the best structure to move forward. But I can say all the talks and the conversations have been very positive about how best to utilize this asset and make sure we're breathing life into that building. So as we do get more updates, we will continue to provide them to the community so that you're all aware of what's happening. There are some interesting kind of nuances that we have to deal with it being bureaucracy in the city and all that. So, but the conversations and the meetings have been very well received and been going in a positive direction. And there are a lot of meetings that have been going on regarding this. So more to come on that, but I couldn't not say thank you to Supervisor Lawson Reamer and her office and Evelyn for what they're doing. So thank you for that. Right now, talking about money, we are in the midst of budget season right now. A week from today, we will be taking up our fiscal year 2022 budget for the fiscal year that begins on July 1st. We last week put forward our budgets memos, our recommended revisions to our budget memos based off what the mayor has released in his May revise. Obviously, the big issue that was addressed in his May revision was the cutting of hours at our libraries. If you recall, I think last time I spoke here, the mayor proposed initially cutting Sunday and Monday hours at the library. We are instilling back into the budget Sunday hours, and then we'll be rolling out as we get the hiring done Monday hours. One of the biggest things that we have conveyed to the mayor's office, unlike other neighborhoods and communities throughout the city, Mira Mesa, being as large as it is, only has one library. And so when you're looking at and talking about instilling Monday hours, some communities that have more than one library that do get that or get multiple of that, to take that into account when looking at locations of where to bring back Monday hours. So that's the biggest piece of the pie in terms of the budgets. There are other things that we asked for in our memorandum that if you go to our website and pull up, you'll see that we're hopeful to restore some of the things that have cut that have to deal with quality of life issues. Those talk about increasing the funding for tree trimming, weed abatements, graffiti abatements, things of that sort, which are very important for our communities. One of the biggest things that we asked for as well too is an update to our street condition assessment. And this hasn't been done in over 5 years. Essentially what that is taking, driving every single street in the city of San Diego and understanding the condition of those streets and determining how we fund those streets that are in the worst condition. Right now, everything's based off of estimates based on that last assessment. It's a rather costly endeavor to do. It's about $500,000, but it's very much important because a lot of ancillary funding formulas are based off of those things. So if you look at things like our climate equity fund that we just established, part of the formula that goes in determining where dollars are allocated are based off the conditions of our streets. And so we very much would like to know where we stand in that as a district, because there are some other pots of money that we don't qualify for based off geographic locations and things of that sort. So that's something that we asked for as well too. So we will be taking up the budgets next Monday. If there are any priorities that you feel are important for us to take into account, whether that's related to public safety or infrastructure or other neighborhood services, we encourage you to monitor that meeting and call in or write us prior to our meeting on Monday. It's a rather large budget. You're looking over at $4 billion. So it's something that we take very seriously, and it's one of the biggest decisions we make throughout the year. So more to come. I'm happy to come back and give an update once the budget is adopted to let everyone know kind of where things stand on that. Another issue that's obviously I can't not talk about when coming here is the status of Gold Coast and Parkdale and where we're at with funding for that. Right now, what we are waiting for is the approval of the list of projects that will be funded by the over $50 million that is right now sitting in a bank account, just sitting there at the city of San Diego. We're hopeful that we can get that list of projects approved in the early July timeframe. And then once we have that appropriation from the council, we will get going on that project. So we're just waiting for that kind of last and final step, which is this actual appropriation of the dollars. So once that happens, we'll obviously be in touch with everybody and ensure that our departments are being as transparent as possible with the residents on those streets about the timeline where things are coming. So we are very, 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 very close to seeing those dollars go into that fund, but we're not quite there yet, and we'll happily give an update. So hopefully, by the beginning of July timeframe, we'll have a council approval on that, but more to come. And we'll also be reaching out to folks to ensure that they call in, just like the last couple of years that we've done this, to make sure your voices are heard regarding this project. And last but certainly not least is obviously a big thing was released last week from the mayor, which is the Parks Master Plan. I've talked about this before at the Mira Mesa Town Council as well too, and my concerns and my votes last year on the Parks Master Plan in opposition to the proposal. Based off a cursory reading of this, not much has changed in terms of the priority of funding for communities that are receiving a lot of density when it comes to updated community plans or just development projects in general. And to reiterate, one of the concerns I had is that a lot of these communities, like Mira Mesa, like Kearney Mesa, that are receiving a lot of density and a lot of homes, will not be seeing the funds stay there for necessary park improvements to these communities. I don't think that has been addressed in the mayor's recent proposal. We're still in the process of reading it and reviewing it, and getting our questions drafted and listed prior to it ever coming back to council. They'll be getting to go out to various community groups, and I'm sure the Park and Rec Board to give their presentation, Community Planners Committee, others to hear feedback. But I would imagine that this will be, again, one of the top concerns from a number of communities to ensure that some of the funds, or at least a portion of the funds, stay within these communities, and that doesn't seem to be the case at this point. So that's just a brief update, Madam Chair. I'm happy to answer any questions that folks have on any topics that are top of mind.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'll ask everyone who's here, if you want to ask a question, use the raise your hand feature. If for any reason that doesn't work, go ahead and post in the chat that you have a question. I'll be monitoring that. First person is Jeff Stevens.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I was actually going to ask you about the Parks Master Plan. You did address that. It's been coming out with a massive amount of hype. The mayor's office has been so enthusiastic about it, but it's got a lot of flaws. I mean, the financial one is a really big one, but in addition to that, it changes the way we plan for parks. It removes the population-based park standard. So replacing it with a point system that basically can define practically anything as a park. So I guess, I mean, you answered my most serious question, but what do you see as the future of this? I mean, one problem is other parts of the city can see us as a piggy bank, of course. And so, our worst fear about this can be the hope of some other part of the city. So how do you see this going?
Yeah, a lot of those issues you raised, in all honesty, were things I could live with, to be quite honest. And and this is not to belittle the fact that there are actual areas within the city that are very much park deficient and need the funding. And there are communities within the city that are very much overparked, and millions and millions of dollars are just sitting in accounts not being used. And I understand the issues at play in that, and the need to try to find avenues for reallocation to make sure those funds don't sit there, and actually communities that are very much deserving of funding for new parks or just upgraded parks are in that same boat. The message I try to convey with both our planning department and the mayor's office is that, at least in District 6, we have communities that are in need of those same improvements. And these are communities that are being asked to shoulder the burden of tens of thousands of new units. Whether it's Mira Mesa, or I bring up the fact of Kearny Mesa as an example. We updated a community plan in Kearny Mesa last year where we're expected to have over 27,000 new units be built in Kearny Mesa. And if you've ever been to Hickman Field, that's the one community park in Kearny Mesa. There is no running water at that park, and there are no bathrooms at that park. And you're being asked to have that community shoulder 27,000 new units with no guarantee that any of the funds that come from that development stay in Kearny Mesa to upgrade that park. And they have a general development plan that's been approved since 2013, I believe. No area funding for that park improvement. They've been relying on the potential development to pay for that park. And we're now asking them to move forward with no guarantees. So that's a problem for me. And I've conveyed that over and over and over again. We'll see at the end of the day what the council decides to move forward on, and whether or not this at the end of the day gets approved. If it does get approved for every reason, myself and my successor will have to continue to advocate to have those fundings come back to District 6, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to the council and their votes on where to allocate funds.
All right. I do not see any other hands. Is there anyone else who wants to ask a question? I have one, but I'm saving mine for last.
I will say one thing I forgot to promote, Barry, I apologize before you ask your question, is on Friday, we are having a press conference on the corner of Mira Mesa and New Salem to unveil our new banners that we're going to have along Mira Mesa Boulevard in celebration of Filipino Independence Day and celebrating our Filipino Nurses Association, who've done a great job at our senior center parking lot, and not only doing COVID testing, but also administering COVID vaccines. And so we wanted to recognize them, and we're going to do a little bit of event at 1 o'clock on Friday, again at the corner of New Salem and Mira Mesa Boulevard. So if you're available at 10 and want to stop by and see new banners, we encourage you to stop on by.
And I have to second that. The Filipino nurses, I came to know them when they began assisting us with the 4th of July. They would host what was our first aid tent. And let me tell you, they did not just sit there and wait to be first aid. They were reaching out to people as they went by. They had water. They'd stop anyone if they didn't look well, have some water, blood pressure tests, advice on health and everything else imaginable. They never sat still, and they have been with us every year since. And it's just amazing what they do. You know, a little pop-up tent on the field, and they have changed people's lives. So I'm going to throw my last question out to you. This is a tough one. I don't expect an answer. We know that some of the budget funds are coming back. We're going to try and get some of the library hours back, but budget shortfalls are a common theme ever since the Great Recession. It's not as bad now as it got to be at the height of that, but we always seem to have a shortfall. And here's the tough question. What are we doing to promote volunteerism and public-private partnerships in assisting with some of the gaps in city services? I have not been successful in the last 10 years in getting anything off the ground. There were always issues. I once had a project turned down by the city for one sentence on one page of a contract with a national organization, and they wouldn't hear anything about even trying to negotiate. So I'll throw that one out. I'm not expecting an answer tonight, but can we just look forward to any change in that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one in which we had that same mentality when we came in office 6.5 years ago, knowing that we have a lot of great nonprofit and private partners here in San Diego who wanting to help, and how do we take advantage of help. I will say I am encouraged for the future, for the mere fact that inside of that building, your heads of departments, there's been a lot of turnover in the last 4 years. And you're seeing kind of the next generation of folks who are heading departments be more creative and open to other ideas, and aren't bogged down by the notion that, well, we've never done it before, we've never done it this way, therefore we can't do it. I think they're more apt and open to trying to get to yes. It still does take time. It's not going to be easy, but with the new council, new folks coming in who are heading these departments and understanding that the dollar doesn't stretch as far, hopefully that they're more open to having those conversations. And I know it's not technically a PPP or anything, but just this conversation with the county right now, we've never done this before at this city ever. We don't have a county funded project on city land in the city. We just don't. But yet here we are having this conversation, figure out how to get to yes, where I can say that in past times, we would never have done this. It had been a straight no. So hopeful that with new leadership brings new ideas and a new wanting to be creative. And it's going to take policymakers continue to put that pressure on folks to continue to ask those questions of why not.
Appreciate the answer. I sensed a change in the Epicenter project, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
was quite a surprise and a very pleasant one. And hopefully we can get more things going to help out. Thank you for being here tonight, taking all of our questions, joining us in the presentation of the scholarships. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Have a great night. I'm going to do what Kent's going to be doing, which is putting his daughter to bed here soon. So thank you all.
All right. Next up, we're going to have from Los Penasquitos Canyon Preserve User Education Project, an invitation to a user survey. Marilyn Teague and Ann Izipege.
Well, this is Marilyn Teague. Ann is actually biking across the US right now. So I think it's from Chicago to Albuquerque or something crazy. So so I'm it for tonight. But thank you. Like I said, my name's Marilyn Teague. I'm a volunteer supporting the Penasquitos Canyon Preserve Citizens Advisory Committee on their user education and outreach project. And I wanted to take this opportunity to update the town council on our activities and invite members to participate in our San Diego City North Preserves user survey. So over the past year, the number of visitors spending time in the various North San Diego City open space preserves has increased significantly, with everybody being, not everybody, lots of people being in a work from home situation or having more flexibility during their day. They're spending it, in the outdoors, and that's wonderful. I mean, that's what we want everybody to do. We're seeing increased mountain bikers, equestrian riders, just hikers, nature watchers, all of the above. And while it's wonderful that people are spending time outdoors, it became apparent last year that not all the visitors were familiar with basic outdoor etiquette and leave no trace practices. And they didn't have an awareness of the sensitive resources in our preserves. So this led a small group of the CAC members, including our city rangers, to come together and discuss ways to improve communications with the preserve visitors and get the word out on ways to enjoy the outdoors and while still protecting the valuable resources. So we started by preparing a short online survey. It's less than 10 minutes to try to understand how individuals are using the preserves. And when I say the preserves, the ones that we're talking about or focusing on with this effort include Los Penasquitos Canyon, Black Mountain, Carmel Mountain, Del Mar Mesa, Lopez Canyon, and Lusardi Canyon. So we're calling those the San Diego City North preserves for this effort. Those online survey results will help us then focus our communications and prioritize our efforts for then getting the word out. The types of questions that we're asking are, how often do people use the preserves? Where do they go? What kind of activities? Have they seen problems in the built environment or in the flora and fauna, all the different elements that make up these preserves? So it's all inclusive. It also includes questions on how do people prefer to communicate? Do they get their information from a website? Do they get it on a social media site or web page, from their friends, from their neighbors? So that will help us understand how best to reach people. So let's see, the survey was launched, kind of a soft launch about a month ago, and then it picked up from there. And it's been distributed on various social media sites. You might have seen it on Nextdoor. It's also been posted on various Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter sites for local community groups and outdoor organizations. Our local mountain biking club and equestrian clubs, as well as the Friends of Penasquitos newsletter, have all requested or shared the link and asked people for their feedback. So I want to do the same thing with the Mira Mesa Town Council as well, and invite the members and anybody else that you want to share the link with to participate in the survey and give us your input. The more input we have, the better, obviously. And at this point, we have over 600 respondents, and we want to keep that momentum going. We will keep the survey open until Friday, June 18th. That's next Friday. And I was kind of realized while I was getting prepared for this call that we don't really have a site that is hosting the link. So what I will do is I will send the link to Pam, and if that's okay, and then Pam can distribute it. And feel free to distribute it to other people you believe, spend time in the preserves. The more input we get, the better our outreach efforts can be. And once we have all the responses, the data will be analyzed by, of course, the subgroup, the rangers, and we also have a professional consultant that's a statistician that specializes in survey work. So he'll help us understand the survey so that it's meaningful, the results are meaningful and can be put into action from there. And then we'll start preparing messaging, initiating outreach, and getting the word out on how we can all enjoy our incredible outdoor resources responsibly. So I'll follow up with an email to Pam and she can shoot it around. But if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Yeah, we can put it on our website too, so.
Yeah, we'll put it on the
Okay.
town council website.
Excellent, I appreciate it.
Recreation.
Ellen, thank you for being here. This is such a wonderful asset that we have in the preserve. anything we can do to assist in making it better, easier to use, better cared for. We appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight.
You're welcome. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to go to our government and community resources. First will be the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group, Jeff Stevens, Chair.
All right, so I've got a few things to report. At our last meeting, we had Tara Lawson-Reamer there talking about the epicenter plans. Everyone was very, very enthusiastic about that. There was a presentation by what used to be called Carroll Canyon Park and Rec, the golf course down in Carroll Canyon at the bottom of Pacific Heights. It's now called F-Light Sorrento Valley. And they made a presentation. They're doing a plan amendment. They're going to develop that a lot more than it currently is. And this was an interim presentation. We're waiting for the EIR on that one, since it is in a sensitive area, before we make a recommendation on it. Also, presentation by the San Diego Redistricting Commission. They just pointed out that the process is starting. What that will do is it will adjust all of the city council boundaries to try to equalize the population between each of them. It's always a somewhat controversial process. Particularly difficult this year is that they won't be getting the census data until September, and I believe they're supposed to have the recommendations by December. So in the meantime, they're working with Sandag data that is likely not very accurate. So we'll see what happens with that. We're in the middle of doing a community plan update. We've been having our plan update meetings immediately prior to the to the general meeting. The city has been proposing some very intense redevelopment in the shopping center areas and in Sorrento Mesa, up to 24,000 new units, which is about, will increase the population in Mira Mesa by about 50% if all of that is actually built. At the last meeting, we were told we had to pick one of two options, both of which were similar, one which is a little more dense than the other, both of which quite intense, but they said they couldn't proceed unless we picked one of them in order to do the evaluation that of the impacts and the public facility needs required by it. So we picked the denser of the two options so we can get an upper bound on what those impacts are and then work from that point. At our June meeting, we have two mitigation projects in Penasquitos Canyon. There have been a number of efforts to improve areas there. One of them is down at the bottom of Calle Cristobal, just as you walk over the big hill into the canyon there. And then I also wanted to mention the Parks Master Plan. Of course, Cate already talked about that. There are a lot of problems with this plan. You should read it, but read it with a careful eye, because there's an awful lot of hype in this plan. Among the things it does, currently we have a population-based park standard of 2.8 acres per 1,000 people. It eliminates that and replaces it with a point system that can define almost anything as a park. It eliminates the FBAs and replaces those with a program that would take all developer fees and then disperse them across the city rather than retaining them within the same community. So a lot of things we're very concerned about with that plan. We'll see what happens. So that's my report.
We have any questions for Jeff? Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Next up, we have Joe Frechtel, if he's here, or if someone is reporting for him for the Mira Mesa Community Recreation Group.
I don't see Joe here.
He was.
Well, we'll go ahead and pass. If we see him pop up, we will go back to him. Let's see, someone else. I don't know if I see him here. Michael Spencer with Scripps Mesa Fireworks. Okay. Mira Mesa Branch Library, Ina Gibson, I know you're here.
I am. I'm sorry, I had to get myself. I apologize for the bad lighting. I'm in my granddaughter's nursery in Florida.
Oh my goodness.
And she's not cooperating by going to sleep. So, we'll just see how it goes. You may hear her add to my report. So I'm sure everyone is wondering about the library services and when we will be expanding, when we will be opening our doors to everyone. I'm sure it's coming soon. I know the administration is actively making plans to do so safely. For now, we are pretty much holding steady. We are still doing hold pickup services. We have some limited services inside the library. But we are adding a few things that are both good and bad. Not bad, but good and maybe not so good. So the good news is we are collecting money again. The bad news about that is that means that instead of getting 10 free prints a day for people coming in to use the computer and try to print documents, you will be having unlimited documents, but you will have to pay for them starting with the very first print. They are reducing the cost of them from 20 cents a page to 15. Hey, that's good, right? And you don't have to buy a separate vend card, those little extra print cards that we would make people buy. You can use your library card and just put money on that. The other thing that collecting money means is that starting the 15th of this month, people with long overdue items will be getting bills for those items. And if the amount is too high, or they don't return the item or make other arrangements, they will be referred to treasurers. So we are starting to do that. So that's the bad news. The good news is the Friends of the Library will be conducting monthly outdoor on the patio book sales. I know that we've had many calls from our community members wondering when that was going to happen. So that is happening usually toward the end of each month. And just remember, we're taking baby steps to keep everyone safe. Part of that safety is we are continuing to mandate mask wearing inside the library. We take our directions from the county and from Cal OSHA, and both those entities have not released the mask mandate totally. So if you come to the library, please remember to wear your mask. We do have one of the additional services we have hotspots available for checkout. So if you need a hotspot because your internet is slow or not up to snuff, or you have to use it in your car or something like that, there's a document to sign. You must be, I think, either be an adult or have an adult with you, and you can check them out for 1 month. Right now, no renewals, but 1 month. And there's no point in keeping them because at day 31, they get turned off of the network. Couple of things. Don't forget programming notes. Summer reading has started. It started June 1st, runs all summer. We have some new items available. So in addition to reading 10 books or 10 hours for all age groups, we also have some activities listed that kids can do, or adults, and they can earn toward their final prize that way by doing the activities. If you have any questions, I'd invite you to check out the library website or call the library. The final thing is for additional virtual programming, because we don't have any live programming this summer, but we do have tons of it going on virtually. Check out our events calendar on the library webpage. And we have in addition to a number of programs that we are contributing. We also have, I'd like to remind you, the band book group, band book club that meets at Mira Mesa. They have been going virtually all pandemic. And this month it's June 29th. That's a Tuesday evening. Our own Pam Stevens facilitates this. And so you can reach out to her or to the library and we'll get you set up there. They are reading, as you know, September and October are our banned book months and our One Book, One San Diego. And so this month they are continuing to read the One Book, One San Diego theme books, which is of course the main book was, they called us Enemy by George Takei. They did that last month, and this month they're doing a similar book, which is about Clara Breed and the letters she wrote and the friendship she made with children that were interred during World War II. And I think that's it. Pam may add to that if she has anything else, but do any of you have any questions that I can answer? Well, thank you very much for having me. Share the word and come visit me at the library.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna. And in Government and Community Resources, we have from Miramar College, President Wes Lundberg.
Thank you, and good evening, town council members and community members. Happy to be here, plan on being here. Won't miss like I did last month anymore. If I do need to miss, then Steve Quiss, our PIO, our public information officer, will fill in. So we'll make sure that you know what's going on at the college. We're very proud that we hosted a virtual commencement. We had 1,482 graduates this year. That's counting bodies. If you count the degrees and certificates that were awarded, the number was, let me pull it up here, 2,145. So that's a lot. And if you're following the math there, you can tell there's some overachievers in the group there that were getting multiple degrees and certificates, and it's always fun to see that happen. What's unusual, of course, it's a virtual commencement. So just this year, we had a carmencement, meaning we had a car drive-through for those who wanted to actually participate in some kind of physical activity. So on the road that we have going around the college, we had faculty and staff with banners, and it was just a beautiful setup for that kind of a thing. And we had, I believe it was over 200 cars come through with graduates and their families. Something we learned there was just how exciting and cool, frankly, it is to have family and friends actually coming through and picking up the diploma covers with their graduates. So now we're thinking about future commencement post-COVID and how we might be able to include families and friends if they would like to do that. So not sure where that's going. So I'll have to report back to you when we do it or when we plan to do it, but it could include continuing with the carmencement so that folks can come through and participate with their graduates. It was really, really special to see that. Our enrollment trend continues to be down as expected with the impact of COVID and folks having to manage their time and the kids and demands on themselves. So as you know, there's been quite a bit of state funding going directly to students that we issue through, designed to help students stay in college, and that's had a positive impact. But we are struggling with the enrollment. What we're focusing on at Miramar as a response to that is retention, which frankly throughout my career has been a focus of mine. So we're looking at strategies to keep the students we have. Traditionally in higher education, there's an emphasis on recruitment of 18 to 24-year-olds and getting them in the door, and then you just kind of expect them to find their own way. Community colleges are very good at working with retention and making sure students stay on track But I think there's room for, I know there's room for improvement. So we're going to be working on that, including exploring the idea of learning communities and cohorts to make sure that we create communities for students to be a part of. There will be a county vaccination clinic on our campus on June 15th. There will be about 200 doses that will be issued. And those, they will be taking appointments on the county website. This is a county activity. It's not the college. We're just providing the space and some support for it. But there will be walk-in vaccinations available too. That will be from 9 to 3 o'clock. And it'll be in the parking lot adjacent to the gym and swimming pool. So pass that on to whoever you think might benefit from not having to go too far to find a vaccination clinic, and we'll help our community get back to health, frankly. It's looking forward to it. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I think the rate of at least single dose vaccinations is nudging up against 70% right now, which is what they call a herd immunization rate, which means that when we're there, we've effectively beat the pandemic or the virus, whatever it is you're fighting. So lastly, I'll just report quickly on our equity efforts. As you know from my previous time with you, we are focusing very heavily on equity. It's based in the belief that we serve the whole student, and I would say even further than that, we serve families of students as well. So as such, you have to see the whole student, and that's the basis of our equity efforts. So we continue to do that with the establishment just a few weeks ago of an equity office to be named yet. So I'll report on that at a future meeting. But they are reporting directly to the president's office, and that's based on the concept that if you typically an equity office reports under student services or something like that. And that has the adverse impact of the college community seeing that as another siloed department that's under someone else rather than something that's comprehensive throughout the entire institution. So that's why I have it reporting to myself. And further, it has a connection to the institutional research office on the Miramar College campus. And that is so that we have a clear connection between our equity efforts and the data, so we can track our efforts and make sure that we're having an impact on the populations that we frankly are underserving. It's not that they don't accomplish, it's that we don't serve them as well as we should. So a little change in perspective there. We will be this fall launching an equity summit, which will be focused internally. Really, we'll bring in an outside speaker to the campus to speak to us, and then we'll have some other activities and workshops associated with that on October 28th. But the piece for the community that I would like you to know about is that speaker, that regional or nationally recognized speaker, will be doing a lecture for the community in the evening on each year that we have the Equity Summit. And that will be open to the public. So we'll see with COVID whether or not we're actually open and able to have folks on campus. We're hoping so. But if not, of course, we'll do it in this kind of a format. So the exciting thing is, you know, our chancellor, Constance M. Carroll, has been our chancellor for 18 years. She's been in the district for, I think, about 30 years. She was the president of Mesa College before becoming chancellor, Dr. Constance M. Carroll. And she's being recognized all over the place for her outstanding career. At Miramar College, we have named that Equity Summit lecture series after her. So it's going to be the Constance M. Carroll Lecture Series. And it'll have a art competition for students associated with it, with that piece of art being purchased and displayed in the Equity Office. So that's it. Exciting news. Lots of things going on at the college, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. And hearing none, I'll say thank you very much, and I appreciate the time being here. I enjoy this time with you all.
So we enjoy having you here, and I want to thank you again. We got the information on the rec high school student outreach. Pass that on to the high school, and I'm waiting to hear. I hope a good number of our Mira Mesa High School students attended.
Thank you. That's great. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Too. Thank you. Okay, let me check. I think someone just came in who may have been on our list. Okay. Not getting a reply, so we can go ahead and jump back if we need to. We're going to move on next to the elected officials reports. And what I'd like is for anyone who wants to speak at the open forum section, which comes up next, please post in the chat room so that I can create a list and call on all of you. All right, elected officials, we're going to begin with San Diego Unified School District. Our representative, Sabrina Bazo.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all, digitally at least. So again, there's a lot, as I think I say every month, there's been a lot going on with the school board. I think the thing that's kind of most near and dear to our hearts right now is the connection with the fireworks show. So the background, if you're not familiar, every year that we've had the fireworks show, there's a rental permit process that has to go through the high school or the district to use the high school, and the district doesn't like it because it's too close to the building. So every year it's been kind of pulling teeth to get the permit, but we've continued to be able to do that every year thanks to you know, people behind the scenes helping us out. And again, this year we are we've received the permit. They had to move it from the football field to another part of the campus because of the new band room apparently. But now the issue is with insurance policy. So I spoke with Barry and I had heard from Jeff Stevens as well. I had a meeting this morning with Lamont Jackson, who is the acting, I thought it was tomorrow, Barry, but it was actually this morning I had a meeting with him. So actually better. I spoke with Lamont on the issue of that there was an insurance policy, but it's a little short of what we're supposed to have. Long story short, 2 years ago, we had a similar problem and the district let us waive that final insurance policy that they normally require because there was already insurance being required. So it was just like an additional policy on top of that one. So I've asked him if we can do that again. I just texted him to see he was going to speak with the rentals people. And I will let you know as soon as I find out. Fingers crossed that this is our last hurdle. So hopefully I'll have some news shortly on that issue.
Oh, hi. Hi, Sabrina.
Oh, hello. So the other thing is graduation coming up, which is very exciting. I think, as I mentioned in the chat, Challenger, all the schools are different right now. Some are just doing virtual, some are doing virtual and like a car parade. Some are trying to do something in person. I know, for example, at Sandburg Elementary, they're doing a 5th grade promotion, but they're just doing 3 individual for each of the 5th grade classes. So I'm excited at the Challenger promotion car parade, which is at the same time as the unveiling of the banners. And then I'm also doing videos for Marston Middle School and Stanley, and I'm going to be at 6 graduations because there's a few board members that actually, for whatever reason, are not going to be attending some of their graduations. So I'm taking on extra graduations. But I'm just excited. I'm just excited that we're having graduations, and being the new person, I want to go to everything. So next Saturday at Petco Park, we're starting at 8 a.m. I can't remember all the schools. I know UC Mira Mesa is the last one of the day, and we're going to be there all day doing graduation. So basically, we have the high school come in, do the graduation, they leave. Next one comes in, they're all tier, at different times, and so it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Finally, right now is a big thing for a lot of the parents is summer school. So the way that it's going to work, because there's been a lot of confusion, the district's been trying to put everything together, kind of, they didn't have a lot of time to put all of this together. They received additional funding from the state and federal funding, which is wonderful. So the morning is going to be mainly the educational piece of it, and it should be open to all students, not just those that are struggling in classes, which in the past it's only been open to those students. And last I checked, this was like 2 weeks ago, there was like 25,000 students signed up, which is like 25% of the population of our kids, which is wonderful. So I'm sure it's more now. And then the afternoon is the Level Up San Diego, and Barry, kind of related to your question to Cate about partnerships with organizations in the community. I'm very excited to report that the school district has done a fantastic job of partnering. We worked with the San Diego Foundation and the Girl Scouts. And the San Diego Foundation has about close to 200 different nonprofits that had applied to work with the school district and provide different summer school programs. All will be free of charge. So there's been a lot of collaboration, and we're hoping, now that we have this, we'll continue to be able to do these programs year after year. And it's exciting because it's something that's never been done before. And it is absolutely a collaboration of nonprofit groups and the school district to provide these services for our kids. And many of whom would never have had some of these experiences that they're going to have. So it's very exciting. I want to end, I have some kind of not so, well, it's sad, very sad news. But I want to share because there is a GoFundMe, and if anyone wants to provide funds, but some of you might be familiar with Matt Fallon. He was vice principal at Mira Mesa High School. He's now the principal at Wagenheim Middle School in Mira Mesa. His wife was the ASB director and English teacher at UC High School. They were having a pep rally for the principal who's retiring, Jeff Oliveras, who actually used to be the principal at Mira Mesa High School. So there's a lot of ties here between the two communities. And Donna collapsed and had a brain aneurysm and died. So that happened Friday, that she actually passed away. And they have 3 boys under the age of 12 or under. And it's just a very tragic situation. Jeff, the principal at Mira Mesa, was at the hospital with Matt, and Lamont Jackson, who used to teach in Mira Mesa, or was principal, was at the hospital. And so anyway, if you want, I was gonna post the GoFundMe site in the chat. And it's basically an educational fund that they're setting up for the 3 boys. So anyone that wants to contribute, there's also gonna be a link to, like, if you want to buy a gift card for dinner, for the family. So sorry to have to report that, but
please put that in the chat.
Sure will.
Excellent. We can put that on the website and the Facebook.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions about anything? All right.
Hey.
Thank
Sabrina,
you so
thank
much.
you for being here.
Absolutely.
And we did have Michael Spencer come in from Scripps Mesa Fireworks. He's going to talk with us briefly.
Yes, I am here. I'm not going to put the video on because I'm in no condition to appear on camera, and I also just had to dry my hands from washing the dishes. I'll bring everyone up to date as to what's going on. No one would like to announce that we're having a fireworks show this year more than me right now, but I can't in good conscience, just because, as Sabrina said, we're still trying to sort out the issue with the insurance. And Pyro Spectaculars carries a policy which is significant, and Mira Mesa Town Council provides a supplementary insurance to that. We just need to make sure that what is provided will actually meet the requirements for the school district. Hopefully the answer will be yes. We'll find out soon enough. One of the biggest holdbacks we've had is the fact that we were not able to actually put in a rental request to the school until mid-April. And for those of you who have children or know children who are going to schools, that coincided with when schools were, coming back in session. And so a fireworks show was of low priority, and understandably so. It's just entertainment on the side. They were trying to educate the children. I definitely understood that. So we had to deal with the cards that we were dealt. And so we had our deadline to actually secure the show the 30th of April, which fortunately we got the approval to rent the facility, which meant that we had a site, so we were able to go. But I'm sure most of you have noticed in your mail significant lack of correspondence from us. We can't in good conscience ask for money when we're not sure that there is a show. So if you see a letter in your mailbox, that's a sure sign that we're going. And we will need to get the community involved when it comes to fundraising. But again, until we can fully announce that we have a show, you won't see anything like that. I definitely appreciate the support that I do see, especially people asking, hey, we're going to have fireworks. It definitely shows to me that the community wants it. We want to have that celebration. It's be about just about a week, 2 weeks after, we've moved forward on that June 15th thing. So we're looking forward. Keep your eyes focused. Keep that support towards the show going, because that makes all this hard work definitely worth it. This has been a difficult 2 years, and Mira Mesa Town Council will tell you, and I too will tell you. So, and again, Sabrina, thank you for your assistance in making the actual approval to use the school facility happen. That was, absolutely critical that we got your support for that. And like I say, fingers crossed, we will get there. We will have a show, and I know that I'm gonna probably stress cry after the first firework goes up, but it'll be worth it. And again, thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any questions by any chance? All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for all you're doing to help make this happen. This is no small feat.
No, and in any other given day, or any other given year, this would have been done in March, but the last 2 years haven't been given anything. So we're all getting better. Thank you, everyone.
Michael, thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Good dog, Sizzle. Good stuff.
All right, let's go on, jump back to elected officials. San Diego Community College District Board Member Bernie Reinerson, I don't think you're here tonight. If you are, let me know. Okay. Councilmember Cate's office, Luis, are you still with us? Didn't think so. Okay, County Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer, District 3, Evelyn Andrade.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Evelyn Andrade, Policy Advisor for Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer. Just have a few quick updates for you all. So first, the supervisor took action to ensure that county programs are based on facts and data, which will lead to better outcomes for our residents. So along with Chair Fletcher, they proposed launching a new Office of Evaluation, Performance, and Analytics to implement best practices and ensure that the county is a leader in evidence-based policymaker, and it did pass with unanimous support. So if any of you called in or submitted e-comments, thank you so much for that. I will be putting a link in the chat with an article where you can find more information about it. Secondly, the supervisor is taking action to protect our environment and quality of life. She's partnered with both Supervisor Fletcher and Vargas on new policies to champion sustainability within the county. So the first is in partnership with Chair Fletcher. They called for the creation of a comprehensive native plants landscaping policy for the region that's going to protect our biodiversity for future generations. Also with Chair Fletcher, we asked for an assessment of the county's overall organizational structure to ensure that the county is structured in a way that centers sustainability from top to bottom. And if not, to give us some recommendations for restructuring. And then along with Supervisor Vargas, Supervisor Lawson Reamer asked for every single department in the county to develop and implement a sustainability plan. So again, thank you to any of you who submitted e-comments or called in. All three of those policies passed unanimously. And then as many of you have already spoken, the supervisor's really invested in our communities. She wants to revitalize our public spaces, repair our roads, protect our habitat, and make long overdue investments in our neighborhoods, including the Mira Mesa epicenter. We're really excited that we are able to contribute $3.65 million in investment in that facility. I want to make a huge shout out and thank you to Jeff for telling us about it, and Barry, who has worked on this project for years and years and years. And it's really her hard work that we're just building upon. And we're happy to be able to do that. And I do want to let you all know, I know there was questions about if you needed to provide more support. We do need you to call in. So the budget process is not over. So we did get approval. We're moving forward, but the final budget has not been approved and we're in our current budget process. So we will need you to submit e-comments and call in to support at our upcoming budget hearings. I will put a link in the chat where you can submit an e-comment, and we just love to have just your continued support and let the county know, let the rest of the board know that we don't want any changes on that proposed budget, and we want to make sure that this project is funded. And the supervisor is committed to a transparent and inclusive budget process. You know, we have a $7 billion budget, and a lot of the programs that we oversee are critical to the community. So the supervisor did host a budget forum on last Wednesday, June 2nd, and hundreds of community members showed up, and we talked about the priorities updated. And I'll also include a link in the chat for those of you who want to watch the recording of that. And as always, we have a lot more to share as what's going on. So please sign up for our email list if you haven't. I'll put that link as well as my contact information where you can reach out to me, my cell phone number or email if you have any questions. I'm also happy to answer any questions you might have right now.
Good dog, Sizzle. Good girl.
All right, I don't think there's any questions. Thank you all. Good to see you again.
And thank you. All right, next up we have from Mayor Todd Gloria's office, Michaela Ball.
Good evening, everybody. Michaela from Mayor Todd Gloria's office. Just to kind of piggyback on Evelyn, I want to thank the supervisor for her work. And we know it's not over yet, but Mira Masons proved to be strong in their advocacy on the epicenter. We're in close talks between our real estate assets division, Parks and Rec, with the county to make sure that this can go smoothly once the funding is allocated. And so kind of stay tuned on that. I did want to touch on the franchise agreement, which will be brought forward to council for a second reading tomorrow.
Oops.
Just so you know, the franchise agreement, 10 million is solar energy rebates. Am I freezing? Oh no.
You are.
Am I freezing? Okay.
No.
You guys, am I good now? Thank you. So $80 million, 20 million to the climate equity goals for the city, 10 million in solar energy rebates. Councilmember Elo Rivera asked that within the next 5 years, we get $10 million in the climate equity contributions up front. And that anytime our rates are increased, SDG&E officials would need to go to City Council to explain the reasoning for the rate increase. So yeah, that will go for a second vote tomorrow. Wanted to touch on the council will be going over the city's budget. The mayor in his revise did commit to restoring library hours to 7 days a week. And lastly, which I know Jeff is probably waiting for, was the Parks Master Plan was released last week. I was on vacation last week, so please don't put me on the hot seat, but I will get up to date on the Parks Master Plan, and I'm always available for any questions and feedback to be relayed. What it means to Mira Mesa, which I know is important, and that's what I wanted to make sure after it was released, you know, what can I communicate? So just so everybody knows, all the DIF fees currently allocated to Mira Mesa legally cannot be moved. So there is no fear of all the fees that Three Roots, any within Stone Creek, I don't know if they've put in fees yet, but up to July of 2022, if the Parks Master's Plan is adopted by the City Council, the DIF fees would remain. That's when the DIF fees would change to a citywide park fee after July. So what that means for Three Roots and Stone Creek, that stays within Mira Mesa. Everything that Mira Mesa has planned for will stay in Mira Mesa. And we are asking the planning department to it's a very long plan to put together a one-pager. And so I'll provide that to Barry and Jeff to kind of distribute to the community. By the planning group meeting, I'll have more in-depth info to kind of dialogue on. It will be going to the Parks and Rec Council, CPC, the PSLN committee, and then council. So there are 4 more public opportunities for constituents to relay their feedback before it's voted on the council. And then lastly, I'm sure Councilmember Cate touched on it, but just for the mayor's commitment, Gold Coast and Parkdale will be part of the commercial paper list, which is going to go to the Active Transportation Committee in the next couple weeks, and then to City Council. And that is it for my update. Try to answer any questions I can. If not, I will follow up with the answers.
I see Jeff has a question.
So, Michaela, I know you haven't had time to look at it yet, but what you just said there was that as of July 1st, 2022, any fees that have not yet been collected from Three Roots and all of the fees from Stone Creek will go into the citywide fund?
No, that's not correct. Thank you for asking that, because that was not what I meant and definitely not right. The DIF fees structure for parks would be changed July of 2022. Anything that's currently in Mira Mesa's DIF fee account cannot be moved. It will not go to a citywide fund. It legally cannot. So all the money that Mira Mesa has right now will stay with Mira Mesa until the projects are completed. So as years go by, it will not be touched. What I meant by July 1st of 2022, any developments that are passed after that date, that's if the Parks Master Plan is adopted, would go into a citywide fund. Does that make sense?
So if Stone Creek is approved in June of 2022, many millions of dollars will come and stay in the Mira Mesa fund. But if it's approved in July of 2022, all of that money will go downtown into the citywide fund?
I wouldn't say downtown specifically, but it would change into a citywide fund instead of to Mira Mesa. I think the timeline though for Three Roots is going to be before that date. So that's kind of why I give the confidence of the 2 main projects that are going on in Mira Mesa that we're talking about right now, are going to stay within the plans that Mira Mesa has. Unless you have something that differs, that you would tell me that it's going to get passed beyond that date.
Well, the project will not start for maybe a decade. It's possible that it will get city approval before then, but we don't know that for sure. But are you saying if it gets city approval, that's the end, that then everything will come into the community?
We can't change fees like that on the developers. So they would know what they're already signing up for. There are also a lot of incentives for the developers to go ahead and put the parks within the existing community. So there's a lot of momentum, but just to be clear, all funds that are already in Mira Mesa's diff fund fee account, at that point they'll be topped off, they'll stay in that account. And then what does that mean for roads? This only applies to parks. So it's not gonna change commitment to funding for Carroll Canyon, any roads, any infrastructure projects. This is only for the parks.
So Michaela, actually, that's an interesting question because the FBA program includes parks and roads both. It also included the library, our fire stations. All of those things are funded out of the FBA. As I understand it, the FBA programs will go away entirely once the Parks Master Plan is approved.
It's not correct because the FBA fee was terminated in 2016. FBAs are now diff funds. And so FBA has already gone away, and this Parks Master Plan only has to do with the diff funds for parks. So it will not affect the roads or any other projects beyond parks.
Well, I don't want to beat up on you too much here. This isn't your fault, but we can discuss more later.
Any other questions? All right. Michaela, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
All right, next up from the Office of Assemblyman Brian Mainshine, Rob Knudsen.
Good evening, and first I owe the community of Mira Mesa a giant, huge apology. Since our last meeting, I don't know what happened with EDD, but the wheels came off the bus and our office has been inundated probably with about 100 phone calls and emails a day. I've got 4 people helping me out, both locally here in the district office and in our capital office. And it's just been a real challenge. And by the end of the day, there has just not been any energy and everybody is fried. I've forced people to take time off. I've kind of nominated myself as a mini junior version of Dr. Phil because it's just been, for 14 months, we've at the state been dealing with these EDD issues, and we would think by now that they would have things under control, and they have not. But we did get authorization to bring on some, hire some part-time workers this summer to help us with this. So we're excited about that. That's where we're at with that as to why I haven't been coming to the meeting. So I still have my workload in the district office, and then couple that with the 80% of our time dealing with these EDD issues and trying to help as many people as we can. And we will continue to do that. That has always been our focus, to do whatever we can to help our constituents. So we're starting to see some light. It's starting to get a little better, but we still have just record amounts of people encountering issues with their account. So not that I've ever wanted to be an ED expert agent, but I feel pretty confident that I can answer any question and figure out somebody's account in under 5 minutes as to what's going on. So I guess there's a benefit to that. So just to kind of update, last week we had our final regional meeting here in San Diego County, kind of a status update related to COVID. We have steadily been declining. We did have a small little uptick over the weekend, but we're talking 63 cases. We believe tomorrow, keep our fingers crossed, that we will be in the yellow, and that then the county will come out on Wednesday and put us in the yellow tier, which is the least restrictive tier according to the tier system. As we all know, the tier system will end in on June 15th.
It's here.
And as Ms. Ina and several others have alluded to, there's a lot of information coming out regarding who can wear masks, when not to wear masks. So you're going to see a lot of that information circulating here. But we, like many folks, when you're indoors, when you're in your office at work, you don't have to wear your mask. But when you're in community areas, typically, unless you can verify 100%, and not everybody has to share whether or not they're 100% vaccinated, but you'll start seeing some information because a lot of people are asking about that information now. We also, San Diego County's goal, along with the state's goal, are identical. We're trying to reach a 75% vaccination rate for the state for all eligible populations 12 years and older. Good news, San Diego County is #1 in the state. We are sitting at 69.7% for those who have got their first shot. And we're sitting at 55.1% who are fully vaccinated. So we're obviously trending in the right direction there. So that's good news. And what a lot of people are struggling with, and it's been kind of shared, we're also monitoring, the state of California is monitoring the variants. So the 3 variants that are prevalent, that have been detected here in California is the UK variant, the West Coast variant, and the Brazilian variant. Although, we're not quite sure, how to handle it. The good news is that it's had very minimal impact to the state of California, which is a good thing. So we're very excited about that. A lot of people also are asking about state of emergency. When's the state of California going to stop with the state of emergency? We're out of the pandemic. Yes, we're exiting that. But as we all know, you got the post reporting and information and things just to be safe so that when you shut it down. So 12/31/2021, that's when it'll officially close. By keeping it open, state gets federal funds. Federal funds come to the state. Our local partners, both cities and counties, receive state grant funds in order to be able to provide the support, particularly as it relates to health and everything that we're doing, obviously, to minimize the impacts of COVID-19. So that's where we are at on the COVID-19 update. I do have a quick update on a couple of assembly bills that your assembly member is working on. We're in what's called, we're at the midway point in Sacramento. We call it House of Origins. So all bills in the assembly need to be heard this week in order to be heard in the Senate to stay alive. If the assembly bills don't make it onto the assembly floor for a vote and pass, then they will die this year. Same is true for our Senate bills on the Senate side. So everything that's currently tracking over there needs to be on the Senate floor for a vote, pass out of there in order to keep it alive. If not, everything dies. So we have seen a lot of legislation die, and we've received a lot of updates from constituents like yourself regarding some of the votes that the assembly member has been voting on, and we'll keep monitoring that. So if there's anything specific that you are looking for or monitoring, I'll leave my email address in the group chat. Please feel free to email me or call the district office. We are allowing 3 people in the district office every day. So I am there every day, trying to do the best I can to help folks with EDD, and then at the same time fulfill my other role, which is to help run the district office. But AB 556, that's AB 556. It's a civil liability for fertility fraud. So what AB 556 does is it would provide victims of fertility fraud with the ability to bring on a private right of action against the perpetrator and recover actual damages or $50,000. Currently, there's nothing in California to prevent or to punish someone who commits fertility fraud. And if some of you might remember, back in 2015, there was an Indianapolis physician who was discovered to have inseminated at least 50 patients with his own sperm without the consent through the 70s and 80s. So last year, the Assembly member had passed a piece of legislation called AB 2014. And what that did was change the statute of limitations from 3 years from commission, because oftentimes, parents aren't able to kind of determine some of these, the fertility fraud until much, much later, to 1 year after discovery. So the parents can take action once they find out, discover that fraud has taken place with the fertility piece. What AB 556 does is provide, again, the victims to bring a private right of action against persons who commit fertility fraud. So that's AB 556. And then we have AB 636, which is called our Adult Protective Services Act. And what this does is it allows APS, Adult Protective Services, to share information between agencies to highlight, investigate substandard care in independent living facilities. So what is an independent living facility, ILF? So, we do have many of these types of facilities, or a handful in the community of Mira Mesa, where residents are turned into homes to care. And over the years, when residents of these facilities are making claims of not clean or being maintained properly, it's always been kind of left up to the local agency like Neighborhood Code Compliance, and there's always been a lot of finger pointing. So what we're trying to do with AB 636 specifically in these independent living facilities is create a bridge so that we can share the information with the code enforcement agencies, provide a legal opportunity to address some of these substandard care, and really go after some of these folks with enforcement. And the way that you enforce some of these ILFs is you hit them in the pocketbooks. And so you can hopefully deter any sort of elder and dependent care abuses. So that is AB 636. And then, of course, lastly, unfortunately, our high school graduating seniors from Mira Mesa have left, but clearly the community has definitely upgraded since my years attending there, and it continues to grow. And it's because of all the wonderful things that the community does. I will always be grateful for Mira Mesa to allow it to call home, and it's always nice to see our next generations grow. So definitely Mira Mesa continues to set the bar. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment. I got caught off guard last Thursday night. Marv Miles had, in the middle of my report, if you ever want to see me stumble and fumble, you should have been at the meeting. I couldn't get my thoughts together because of hearing the news about Bruce Brown. Just an incredible human being. Very few people, when Brian was a freshman on the council, I know Jeff and Pam were instrumental in helping us as a freshman elected office. I remember vividly getting in the car, and we all met over at the Mira Mesa Teen Epicenter. That was Bruce's baby, and I know he's smiling cheek to cheek on all the wonderful things that the community continues to do with that project and that facility. But putting us in the car and driving the council member then and myself, and really taking us under you guys' wing. For better, for worse, I'm a result of all of the community. So hopefully better. My wife says there's still a lot of work left, but my heart is really, really broken on hearing the news of Bruce passing, because he was just such a great man. And I just have to say that. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
So I do actually have a question. So there are a bunch of housing bills pending in the state assembly that override local zoning and planning decisions. Things that will, for example, allow a developer by right to buy a single family lot, tear down the houses there and build four in its place. We have a lot of concerns about that kind of legislation. What is Brian's position on them?
Build it. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. It's the bill you're specifically talking about is SB 9. And if you recall, a few years back, they changed the number, but the project or the legislation still stays the same. And I've said this before in the community of Carmel Mountain Ranch, because a lot of residents were upset about the development taking place on a golf course. And as I told that group, and you know, your assembly member was a council member, and he has always been a big believer in letting the community decide on what they want to do with their land. You do not want Sacramento. I don't know that there's many people in Sacramento that know the community of Mira Mesa, Scripps Ranch, Carmel Valley, except for the folks that live down here. So your assembly member has always been a big advocate of keeping these land use issues local and letting folks here decide. It's just, we just don't see it. So, you know, as before, you know, we're just not fans of that. So many of these bills, unfortunately, are in the Senate right now. So they're making their way, they're starting to make their way over to the Assembly. But, you know, your assembly member, I have been a huge advocate of and as well as he, of keeping things local when it comes to land use. Don't let Sacramento decide what goes where in Mira Mesa.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. All right, I'm not sure if we have anyone here from Senator Tony Atkins' office. All right, hearing no one. Congressman Scott Peters, I got an email from Anthony Nguyen. He could not be here tonight due to a family issue, but he asked me just to read this quickly. So June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and Representative Peters wanted to raise awareness about this issue by recognizing San Diego-based research institutions and organizations that are working to cure and know more about this disease. Please join us virtually on Thursday, June 10th from 2:30 to 3:30 for this informative discussion. Questions or concerns, please email Anthony Nguyen at the Congressman's office. Again, it's June 10, 2:30 to 3:30 by Zoom. And we're going to go ahead and post that out on the website and the Facebook page. All right, we are here at Open Forum, and I've had 2 requests to speak. The first one is Tommy Howe.
Thanks, Barry. I appreciate it. Rob, I really appreciated what you said about Bruce. I think we all appreciate that. We all share that. So thank you for sharing that with us tonight. San Diego County Planning Commissioner Tommy Howe. I'm running for San Diego City Council in District 6. I think many of you know I was the endorsed Democratic candidate for the seat in 2018. I know most of you here, I think a lot of you have heard these remarks before, but I'm running because for too long, and for some of the reasons we've been hearing tonight, our D6 neighborhoods haven't had anyone rolling up their sleeves and fighting for us at City Hall. Downtown gives itself symphony halls and wants to expand the convention center. We just need street lights on Camino Ruiz. We need our roads rebuilt, and not just Parkdale and Gold Coast, though I've been one of the local squeaky wheels urging the city to rebuild those roads for years, even before I ran in 2018. We've got a running list of our broken streets at TommyHowe.com that need to be addressed. We need our park amenities and our libraries restored. We need downtown to see the 140,000 people who live in our neighborhoods in the heart of San Diego, where the people who power the city live, not just the economic centers of Miramar and Convoy and Sereno Valley. Those are important, but that's not necessarily where our neighbors necessarily live. I'm very concerned about the new parks master plan that trades real park acreage for a point system, concerned about the lack of real transit. Regarding the new Mira Mesa community plan, the city wants to drop upwards of 22,000 units in the downtown Mira Mesa area. I'd like the city to really explore the area on the north side of Miramar Road. I agree with the equity issues regarding districts 4, 8, and 9. And I agree with them, but like Jeff, I'm very concerned about the developer impact fees. I will fight for those if I wind up being your council member, especially as they relate to Stone Creek. I'm concerned about SB 9 as well. And we're expecting a major building boom in the Convoy area with the Kearney Mesa community plan update. We need real transit there too. And on the Spectrum side of the 163, there are real opportunities with the local Convoy business groups to make it more pedestrian friendly, potentially bringing a hotel there. I realize I'm running on a little bit too long, but I'd like to earn your support for San Diego City Council in District 6 in 2022. There's more information on my website. It's tommyhout.com, TOMMYHOUGH. And if I haven't invited you yet to our fundraiser coming up on Sunday, June the 27th, I'll likely be calling you very shortly to invite you. And there's more information on tommyhout.com about that as well. And if it's okay with you, Barry, I'll put some information in the chat.
Thank you. Next up, Kent Lee.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and great to see you all again. Just to keep it short, I think many of you know I'm Kent Lee. I'm a candidate running for San Diego City Council to represent District 6, first-generation Asian American and a 15-year resident of Mira Mesa. You've probably seen at least one or two of my young children tonight skirting by during the meeting. I've been a board member of the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group for the last 8 years. And with that, I have been an advocate in ensuring that our local voices remain represented when it comes to City Hall. When it comes to priorities, I've got on the top of my mind housing development and infrastructure, in large part because we have not just our community plan update, but either others in our district that have just recently been approved or are currently underway. Knowing that there are going to be impacts from things like new parks master plan and the need to advocate for funding and support for our community. Been thinking a lot about small business recovery, especially during the pandemic, and how we're going to empower those small businesses post-pandemic. And then finally, just thinking that as we rebuild, we need to do so in a way that really brings forth all of our community's diverse voices to uplift our entire region. So happy to share some info in the chat so you can visit the campaign website and learn more about me if you haven't. But feel free to reach out anytime just to connect, and I'd be happy to chat. So thanks again. Again, my name is Kent Lee, running for San Diego City Council to represent this district. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, that wraps up our open forum. We're going to do a couple of quick committee reports. Jennifer Kralvik had to leave, but she wanted me to remind everyone about the new banners going up on Friday, and the council member mentioned the event. We put that information in the chat. We'll have that out on Facebook also. Membership, Brandy Ludwig. I don't think Brandy was here tonight. So we'll wrap up with one more note on scheduling. Prior to COVID, when we got to meet in real life, we used to take the month of July off because everyone is doing something, and attendance to the meetings would dwindle to just the board members looking at each other. We've been having July meetings during COVID to share information. We are going to take next month off in the hopes that we're using that time to get ready to come back in August to real life meetings. We are looking at the changes that are coming up in June. A lot of them are very promising. And if everything holds well through July and the holidays, we can hopefully have our first in-person meeting in almost 2 years for our August meeting. I want to thank everyone who attended tonight, everyone who's attended with us on Zoom for all these many months as we got through the COVID situation. And hopefully when we come back together in August, it will be in person, and we can make that meeting something very special for everyone. We will be posting all the information mentioned at tonight's meeting on the website and in the Facebook. And we're going to go ahead. I was asked to just go ahead and adjourn in memory of Bruce Brown and invite everyone to get involved. That's how a lot of Mira Mesa got to be what it was. A lot of good people doing some great work, and the things that Bruce has done will be with us for many decades to come. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night, all.